everybody, this is Mary,
And this is Julie.
and you are listening to the High Priestess Hype Club.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, it's always a journey to get to record.
It's always a journey for us. All of you have listened before. All 7 of you. No, there's more than that. I'm sorry.
Nah. But thank
I'm
you for
having a
being
day.
loyal. It's
Thank you all
right.
for being loyal, and you all know that it's a journey getting to record.
Yes, so
That's
here
right.
we are. Yes.
Here we are, and we're happy to be here. Hello.
Hello. So I think we've got a good topic today, Jules. Coming up on when we're recording this will be launched on July 4th, which in America is Independence Day. But we wanted to talk about personal independence, which I think is kind of a cool topic.
I hope so. Let's try. To be honest, she's not doing great. We're not bad. We're not great. But it's gonna be all right because we're here. And
We're
then
here.
you're like, we're gonna cut this and start all over.
Might be a good idea. So,
But yeah, we were thinking like 4th of July, Independence Day, and then like, what do you do for yourself? Like, and we know we have international listeners, and we know that things are happening in our country.
yes, and all over the world, really. So,
Yes, that's true.
yeah. So, independence as, a country, a place, as a person is really important. But we were thinking about personal independence from a standpoint of what are we doing to really make our place in the world and to feel confident in the world. And
Yeah.
so I know, Jules, when we were talking before we record, Jules and I always talk before we record. We were talking about things like, bank accounts and health stuff and just like definitely not avoiding the things that you don't want to deal with.
Right. As you guys know, we've all talked about this many times on here, whether it's like journaling,
Right.
which, Mary and I both signed up to journal for every day in July
Yep.
on, our favorite 750 words, even though it's possibly too late to sign up for the July challenge. If you guys want to journal along with us, please do, whether it's in your notebook or notepad or whatever. By notepad, I mean like on the computer. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
If you want to try it with us, it's a personal goal we're working on this month.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of personal independence, though.
Yeah.
Like journaling is part of personal independence because it's getting to know ourselves and know ourselves. We think about it. Our lives are very comfortable the way they are. Maybe for some people, it's like, I know this is my routine. This is my family. This is my house. This is my life. And it's like, well, okay, but what happened if that changed? And what happened, if and not change for a bad reason, just maybe there's another kid that shows up at the house. Maybe there's, you decide to move someplace bigger. I mean, there's a lot of things, but it's how do you adjust to that? And how do you adjust to that is knowing what and where you are in your self right now. So I think it's like a lot of the personal independence stuff is, no matter what situation you're in, knowing yourself.
Yeah,
And
when you know yourself, you can kind of like own your own like feelings or emotions or issues or whatever's going on with you so that you can work that out. And also it keeps you from taking on, as a people pleaser / person who has been working on that type of issue for many, many years. It helps to like separate what is somebody else's. Like not everything is necessarily your responsibility. And when it comes to like a parent or a close friend or a partner, sometimes that can get real blurry and really like difficult to separate out. And I think I was driving down the road and leaving Mary a voice note, and I was just kind of like, I think there's something in here about that too. Like personal independence just doesn't mean necessarily just like I'm giving the double bird and like Aries moon, fuck yeah, I'm doing my own thing. Like, it can be more like you can be in relationship with other people, but not let them have more control than they need to over you.
Right.
We all have responsibility to one another, especially when you're living in a community, however that shakes out and however tight knit and where in that sphere of like influence in your life those people are. But it's still important to have like clean boundaries and like care and compassion without taking on too much or putting too much of yourself on other people. I think that's another thing that we have to make sure that we're not like overextending ourselves in a way that we're expecting other people to care for us in a way that might not be appropriate.
Wow, those are really good points, Jules.
It's the energy drink.
It's hey, listen, I don't care what it is, they're great points. It came from your mouth and your thoughts, they're great points. I don't care if an energy drink was involved. No, these are great. I think, yeah, some of it is saying, like, not necessarily what am I contributing to the situation, though that can be a question. And if you feel like,
Sure.
"Hey, I'm not contributing anything to this insanity," then that's okay too. I think being self-aware and part of that
Yes.
is, kind of seeing all the sides. Because I hate to admit the crappy sides of me. I hate to admit them, but they're there. Like you mentioned people pleasing, and in my head I was like, oh yeah, that's and I'm classic for someone tells me they have a problem, like, oh, how I know I can fix this. Like I am a problem
Yes.
solver, I am a fixer. Well, sometimes that's not someone didn't ask me to fix it.
Yeah, I got to the point where I realized because of feedback from people, but also like therapy and journaling, that there's times when, people would start talking to me about what's going on and I'd be like, well, we could do this and this and this. And then it's like, sometimes you just need to vent. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, right.
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 Yeah.
And when I'm feeling like when I'm kind of on my game, sometimes I can be like, and it feels right. You can just kind of be like, do you need to just vent or are we problem solving? Like you can
Yeah.
ask the person, like, what do you need
Right.
right now? But I
Yeah.
think it's also might be important to be like, what can I give right now?
That's a great point too.
And so you can still be with each other and like
Yeah.
support one another.
Yeah.
But if, you're running on 2 hours of sleep and whatever else.
And I think that's important to be able to say too. Like if you're like, listen, I want to be here from you, but right now I'm not at full speed, but I can sit here and listen,
Right.
hold your hand kind of thing. I think it's also being honest about where you are, and not that
Yeah.
you don't want to be there for your friend, but also, or your person, but also like sometimes you just don't have it and you have to say that. But I think you can say it in a nice way and find a compromise. And listen, sometimes if people are mad because you can't do it, they're mad, and you have to take care of yourself first. But in doing that, you also aren't creating like a resentment where you're saying like, oh, this person's dumping on me. Well, did you tell them? Maybe you don't.
Well, right. Maybe you don't have the
it-
energy for that space right now.
Right. Well, no. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think too, I'm realizing today, I think I said probably to at least 3 people today, some of them like friend, personal life, and at least one of them at work, where I was like, I realize I sound kind of cranky. It doesn't have anything to do with you.
Mhm.
I woke up at 3 a.m. and never really went back to sleep.
Yeah.
My bad, but like that's where I am. So please don't think this is about you.
Right.
I'm trying to manage myself and I can hear it leaking out a little bit. Now I said a little more professionally to the work person, but
still,
I was trying to take responsibility for where I am today.
Yeah.
This free energy drink, but trying to take responsibility, maybe post to for where I am, so that it's not like when you're in a relationship with someone, I mean, some people handle them differently, but I think a lot of us are sensitive to one another, especially
Yeah.
people who are into kind of the woo circle that
Mhm.
all of us are. We're paying attention to other people, we're picking up on energy, things like that, and you want to kind of just be clear about what's going on. And if I feel like I'm pumping out something kind of cranky, I want that person to know that, like, you can tell I have kids, I'm like cranky.
He's good.
That like it's not you.
Right.
This is just what's going on with me. Let's keep going here. Please don't
Yeah.
take my tone to mean something that I don't mean for it to. Now, is that over functioning? I don't know. Maybe if I overly apologize and then expected them to take care of me a little bit about
Yeah.
it would be.
Yeah.
Are we doing therapy right now?
No, I don't think you're over explaining or what's over functioning. I'm sorry, I didn't know what word you used, but
You're okay.
but I think sometimes just making it clear to somebody else what's going on. You don't know what the other person's thinking.
Yeah.
If you're coming off cranky and it isn't their fault or they're, directed at them, it's like sometimes we need to know. We're just like, oh, this person's a little
What's going on with you today? You okay?
You okay?
Yeah.
So, but I think being able to say that does come down again, personal independence. It's like, well, I know I need to state this, and I know I need to check myself, and I know it's
Right.
again a lot of this like personal responsibility or personal self-awareness. So self-awareness, let me take out the personal, I think is really important. And the only way we have the self-awareness is if we get to know ourselves. And to hear feedback, sometimes I don't always like to hear it,
Look,
but
I don't either, but I need it.
Right.
Like if somebody's like, "Can I tell you something?" And part of me is like, "No," but I'm also like, "You have to tell me."
Yeah, now you have to tell me what
Like,
is
you
it?
have to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that I'm not always the best at like, I can take the feedback, but may not be able to like process it very cleanly immediately.
Right.
But I'm usually pretty happy later on that somebody like cared enough to give me that information. And then I
Yeah.
was able to like work with it, especially if the person like has your best interest in mind. We're not talking about people who are just like
Yeah.
blasting you with BS.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, we don't want to, but there are people out there that are negative. We have to really just be solid in ourselves. Well, we were talking about this the other day with, and for some, you guys might be like, I do this all the time. I don't do this all the time, but like getting your nails done and then they put the color on you and you're like, I don't really like this color. But then you have a moment where you're like, well, do I say that, like I pick the color out? Do I say something to them and get a different, like, do I inconvenience them? Like there's this whole like dialogue in your head, but
Right.
that's part of it is like being able to say, yeah, I don't like, and I know that's a simple example, guys, but it's true.
Okay. And also it happened to me yesterday, and that's why Mary's thinking about it, and I'll own it. Like I was just like, but it was a big deal. It was such a big deal to me that I actually did it. That I actually was like, I don't know that I like that now. And I did apologize. Like, I know this is more work for you. I'm sorry. And she was like, that's okay. Like, let's look for something that you think would be better, you know? And
Yeah.
she helped me like color chart wise, whatever. But like, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting that I think somebody said, I think you told me, Mary, that someone said to you, like, it's in those moments where like you don't abandon yourself,
Yeah.
even in like those small moments like that, and that you're like sticking up for yourself or speaking up for yourself, even when it's small like that, that you're seeing that growth, like that move toward like this personal independence kind of awareness and using your voice to say something that may be hard for you to say, but it's kind of even though it seems small, or I might brush it off for myself as like silly or whatever, it's meaningful. So when you can find those meaningful moments like that, that's good. That's a victory.
Yeah, and our brain likes the positive stuff. Our brain thrives on the positive stuff. So us doing that and then getting the positive response, like that's a good thing to kind of keep reinforcing. It's a good thing to keep reinforcing. It helps you, like in a different situation or even a more difficult situation, be able to speak up for yourself or to state what you need. And sometimes you just need a different color of nail polish.
And I'm really glad I did, because it was too neon. But anyway.
But
yeah, I guess especially if you've been in a relationship of whatever form, it could have been a teacher, it could be family, it could be, like a partner, it could be a friend, where you would get a lot of negative feedback and you would, say your piece less and less because you would get resistance or something that wasn't, that was challenging to like process and handle, and maybe wasn't just constructive feedback.
Right.
That building that back up in those little moments can be pretty big.
Yeah. But it's a practice. It's one of those things we have to practice if we're not used to doing it. So any little like progress is going to help.
Yeah.
That's the thing I try to remember, because I'm a Sagittarius and I like it big and I like it, like the movies. I like it Hollywood style. You know what I mean? Boom, it happens. And then when it's not, I'm like, oh, why not?
That's funny that you said, because for me, it's like, because I'm Aries, I'm like, I would like it now. I would like to go through the whole process very quickly, and it's a big change. We're there.
We're there.
It doesn't have to be Hollywood, but it's like, oh, I've completed this thing and it's done. Go me. Yes.
Yeah.
What is the next thing we're gonna ram through? Let's go.
Let's go. And then life goes, that's really cute. Wait, what?
You're so cute.
What's that?
Right. So I had a thought in the middle of this, and I don't know if there's anything to this, because I think of random astrology things, and then I ask Mary, you guys hear me do this all the time. And then I'm like, is there anything to this? But I was wondering if there's something to, because you mentioned money stuff earlier, and I know that my Chiron is in Taurus. And I think we talked about this an episode or so back, that like, I feel like working around, I don't know if working around like your Chiron, if you're not sure where to start, yes, that's intense work and it's kind of big, but it could show you a space where like if you work here, that could really help you because you're healing your wounds that lead you toward that like independence kind of space.
Yeah, I think that's Jules, that's a great aspect to talk about because like right now I'm going through my Chiron return. So my Chiron's in Aries, folks that are in my generation around 48 to 53, somewhere in there. And it does point out the places you need to work on and heal, because if you can do that, you'll just keep going in this great direction and you can help others heal too. So for me, it's, being that leader, seeing myself as that now. I was struggling with that and seeing myself as this person. So yeah, with your Chiron being in Taurus, it is going to be the wounds and the practical. So the money, the home, the looks, the, just anything that's like ruled by Venus. So Taurus is ruled by Venus.
And you could probably find, theoretically, I'm asking, I say this like I know. I'm just like absorbing what Mary says over time, and then I like throw it back. Like, does this make sense? But like, I guess depending on what house that's in as well, and depending on if stuff is aspecting that, it could give you like more flavor or definition to what that is. Maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Chiron Taurus in the second house is different than Chiron Taurus in the 10th house.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And depending on what's aspecting it and stuff like that. Yeah. That's definitely gonna flavor it a lot differently.
Yeah.
So, but it is a good place to start to figure out where your Chiron is and what sign it is and just kind of work from there. Because that tells you where your wounds are. That tells you like the places that you don't see yourself in the proper way.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, my Chiron return, I went back to grad school, got my master's degree in spirituality, and now I'm opening a sanctuary. Yeah, that had been a dream of mine for years. So that's how that manifests.
Right. You're doing it. Yep.
Right. So if you do it right, you do well with it. You just got to face those things that you don't, the shadow side, the side you don't like. Your shadow doesn't mean evil. It's the side you don't like. It's the one you want to keep hidden. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, speaking of that, mine's in the 12th house. So
talk about keeping it hidden. I just go ahead and bury that.
It's buried real deep, making a karmic issue for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try to work it out instead.
I'm telling you, girl, you work that out, whatever that looks like for you. Like you work that out and it's a different, it's different. You might be breaking generational stuff too. If you think about it in the 12th house, it's past life stuff. So
it's interesting.
Yeah. This is you got a big one there, but you can do it because you came in with it. And you're like,
yay.
Well, this might be a good place to end until next time.
And hey, if you want to know more about where your Chiron is, you can always talk to us or Mary will read your chart because she's very good at that.
Thank you.
Astrologer, and she'll help you through some things. MaryDelba.com.
That's
as
me.
I plug her as I always do, and she's always like, "Thank you." But
thanks, Julie. And Julie, how can people find you?
And I never prepare for this part ever. So, but I do have some stuff happening. The easiest way to get to all of it is either at which I'm trying on Instagram right now, or I also have my Linktree link. So it's tree/Julie Atkinson. So you can find me there, and all my links to all my stuff, including my Animal Crossing Instagram, if that's what you want to look at.
So fun.
But also like you can schedule sessions and stuff for
that too.
Candle work and things like that. So
yeah. And then if you want to find us, it's at highpriestesshypeclub@gmail.com.
And then club.live.
Yes. But until next time, guys, just remember, you are magic. See you next time.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at High Priestess Hype Club, and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're currently listening to us on now, because we're back every Thursday to hype you up. Email us at highpriestesshypeclub@gmail.com and tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.